Hey, how's it going? My name is Diego, and on this channel, what I'm going to be doing is just giving daily value, and that's really it. I'm just going to give daily sauce. I'm going to go over my strategies and just give you guys basically answers to all your questions, right? I'm just going to be going through all my questions on my YouTube or my main YouTube for right now because there are no questions on this channel yet. This is my first video, so welcome. You are here early if you're watching this. But on this channel, I'm just going to be going through your guys' questions, giving a ton of value. The reason why I'm doing this is, obviously to keep growing my brand. It's a great way for getting more engagement, and I thought, hey, if I can give you guys value at the same time, great, right? So subscribe if you guys want to be seeing that every day. These videos are going to be very unedited. I'm just literally going to come on here every day and give value and answer your guys' questions. So pretty straightforward. It's going to be pretty boring content, you could say, for most people, but for me, I'm going to enjoy it because I love talking about this stuff. So let's dive into the sauce. So first things first is let's just cover exactly the first few questions here. Okay, so first we have, what if I don't want to make type beats and I just want to make my own stuff? Okay, this is actually a really good question. So the importance here is like, look, every producer wants to just make their own beats. Look, if we could just make whatever beats we want, post it on one channel and get hundreds of thousands of views every day, right? That would be ideal. That's not how it works though. Unfortunately, that is not how it works. I wish it was. So if you want to make all kinds of beats though, right? You don't want to box yourself in. That's totally fine. I work with students all the time that want to just post whatever they want because they're versatile, right? If you're a talented producer, you're probably versatile. The thing is you want to go about it in a certain way. The way you want to go about it is by expanding. So when you have your original type beat channel, right? And look, he also said, what if I don't want to do type beats? Then don't do type beats, right? I don't know what to tell you. This is all I talk about. I love type beats. So if you don't, teach your own, right? If you do want to learn type beats though, but you still want to be able to post whatever you want, then here's how you go about it. First, you build your #1 channel, right? Your main channel, you could call it, right? And on this channel, you want to post whatever beat you love making the most. Obviously, you want to make all kinds of beats, but you want to post whatever beat you like making the most. So this would be like your favorite. Now, excuse my horrendous handwriting. I just got this new like drawing pad. I don't know if you guys can see. I just got it. I'm still getting used to it, but I think it's going to be great for me to illustrate what I'm trying to get across, right? All my points. This is kind of my first time doing this whole raw content too, so a little different for me, but we'll get used to it. So after you have your main channel, this is where you want to then expand sideways. And you can always expand in certain ways. You can always scale in certain ways. You could scale down, you can scale up, you can scale in circles, you can scale sideways. I don't care, right? For this, you want to scale sideways, which is just by doing whatever worked first. So if you're making your favorite beats, they're probably going to be your best beats. And eventually, if you do all the strategies that I always talk about on my main channel, you can eventually grow your channel, right? At least get it going, a couple hundred subs in the first couple months, right? And if you're looking for like in-depth strategies on how to actually grow a type beat channel or like the basic fundamentals, I have all kinds of videos on my main channel. Go watch that here. But to answer this question, you want to have your favorite channel and then you expand into other niches. So let's say now you go to your second favorite style of beat and you try and build this channel and you scale it, right? And you do this for however many channels you want, however much time you have in a day until you're full time, right? And you could get full time off your first channel, right? You could. It doesn't actually matter. The point is the formula stays the same. And if you choose to go down this route, which I think it's a very good route, I went down it myself, right? I even have my results pulled up. I did all kinds of channels, right? All kinds of niches because I wanted to make all kinds of beats, right? I love just making all kinds of music. I even like making country beats for a while. And my main type beat channel was a trap beats channel. Okay. So I like making all kinds of beats and you guys are probably the same. And so what that means is you just need to scale sideways. And so I always tell people, just because you're posting one niche doesn't mean that's the only type of beat you can make. You can make beats outside of that for other projects, or you can just make more channels and go down the list of your favorite type of beats. That is how I want you to do it. That's a great way to go about it. And that's how I've done it. And that's how a lot of producers are doing it. So if you don't want to do it that way, figure something else out. That's a great strategy here though. So hopefully that answers your question. And then, can one channel have multiple genres of type beats? So no, it can't. I mean, I've done it. I had an experimental channel here where I posted, I'd say it was multiple genres or not multiple genres, but definitely different keywords. That's the farthest you can ever go. Now, obviously I'm a professional with type beats, right? I can blow up any channel I want. This was actually an experiment. I didn't know I could, but yes, I blew this one up and I never even put type beat in the title. I went for a completely different strategy compared to all my other channels. So it's like yes and no. Rule of thumb, like if you're a professional, you probably can, right? If you're on my level or similar, or you've been doing this for a few years, you have a decent amount of success in the space, yeah, maybe you can try a channel where you're posting different type of genres. The problem with that though is here's where it becomes actually counterintuitive. When you're posting, right? So you have your video here, people love it, great. Let's say it's a Gunna type beat, right? It's a Gunna type beat. Now, when you post this, YouTube always knows to put your video in front of your ideal audience. Okay. Imagine that's a person. I'm so sorry for these illustrations, but imagine that's a person, right? YouTube will always put it in front of your ideal audience. So it might take them a month or two to find it, right? A lot of people start a new channel and they see that their click-through rate is horrendous. They see that their watch time's horrible. They see they're not getting pushed out, or they get pushed out and then it flatlines. It's because YouTube's actually trying to figure out who your ideal audience is, who you're trying to attract. They're doing that for you, right? If you ever run ads, I'm sure most of you guys never have ran ads before, but Meta will actually learn who to put it in front of, right? YouTube's the same. It actually is trying to find who to put it in front of. And so when you do Gunna type beat, eventually you're going to get people that like Gunna type beats. And so if you get someone to subscribe, even if it's one person, if you get one person to subscribe for a Gunna type beat, and the next day you post a Polo G type beat, right? You post a Polo G type beat, then guess what? Nobody that, or the person that liked the Gunna type beat is not going to click on that. And you know what happens when your own audience doesn't click on your beat? They don't push it out to new people, because why would they? If your own subscribers don't even like your content or don't even want to click on your content, they don't even want to check it out, why would anyone else, right? So that's YouTube's mentality there. And if you understand what I just said, it's going to take you very, very far. That is YouTube's mentality though. So if you understand that, then you basically understand the type B game. And that is why you can't post multiple genres on one channel, because you're making it so difficult for yourself, right? Because that's like posting a Taylor Swift type beat one day and then dropping a Lil Baby type beat. It's like, yeah, they're two completely different genres, which means they're two completely different audiences. And if you're going for one channel, you don't want to split up your own audience, right? And then imagine trying to sell beats. Okay, let's say you want to have an email list. You want to sell maybe a beat pack to your email list, or you want to do some type of product, right? Now it's like, okay, well, I have all kinds of people. I have all kinds of artists on my thing. It makes it way more difficult to actually be able to create a product or be able to market to your audience, right? Because it's all over the place. Make things simple. Yeah, it doesn't need to be complicated. Make things simple for yourself, right? If you have an entire YouTube channel dedicated to Gunna type beats, and then everyone that downloads a free beat from there goes onto your MailChimp or Aweber or whatever you use to email market, right? Then now you know, okay, I can just put out Gunna beat packs because my audience loves that. And guess what? You're going to see your sales go through the roof. So most producers mess this up when trying to start a type beat channel or when trying to sell beats. And that's a common mistake that I always see. But you know, that's just, that's the game. So hopefully you're already getting a lot of value out of this. I'm just yapping, to be honest, but it's kind of fun. And if you're interested in this stuff, then great. Okay, that is not an eraser. Okay, so let's clear the board and go to the next question. Like I said, these are going to be very raw videos. Okay, next question is, how do the Weeknd type beats rank? Like the Weeknd X Metro niche, would that be good? I used to do mostly the Weeknd, but I would sometimes post other ones and I wasn't really consistent. Okay, well, okay, it's no subscribers. It's pretty hard to look at for what you're trying to do. But so the Weeknd type beat, I mean, the main thing is like, okay, just use the software to look at that, or use YouTube itself, right? So you could go to YouTube Incognito and you could go on to search up type beat, or you could do the Weeknd, right? And on here, you can see, okay, kind of the rough competition, right? So you can see who's on here and it looks like it's pretty competitive, right? It looks like there's pretty big guys in the space. I guarantee this guy has maybe 100,000 subs. Okay, 50,000, right? Pretty established. This guy's killing it. So you kind of already know just by looking up the keyword on YouTube if it's pretty competitive. So how do the Weeknd type beats rank? They rank great if you are doing the right stuff, right? And if you're already cemented in. How do you get cemented in? You try to find another angle at it. So here's a great example of that. If I was going for Drake type beat, which is probably the most competitive keyword, okay? If I was going for Drake, this is what I do. So you want to go for Drake, which is probably arguably, right, the most competitive keyword. I don't know what the score is on vidIQ or something like that. It's probably ridiculous. But if I was going for Drake type beat, no, I wouldn't just post Drake type beat, obviously, right? On a new channel, that's crazy. Unless you're a professional, right? Unless your beats are so dialed in, it's great. But I don't recommend starting with going for just Drake type beat. And here's why. You need to find a different angle to it. So most producers make the mistake of like, okay, I make really good Drake type beats. I've mastered the sound, and then I'm just going to start posting Drake type beats. And then they see 12 views and they wonder why. Well, the reason is you need to create a niche inside of the niche. If it's this big of a niche, right? Granted, if it's like a smaller niche, then yeah, just go for the keyword, right? It doesn't matter. If it's a massive niche like this though, you need to break it down. How do you do that? Okay, well, think about it. Drake has multiple sounds, and Drake is a great example for this. Drake has multiple sounds. He has more of the recent sound, which is just like trap, basically, trap beats, or just kind of mainstream hip hop beats. beats, mainstream. It's 12:39 a.m. Give me a break. But mainstream, not Main Street. Anyway, but he also had an earlier sound, right? 2012, 2011, kind of like that Take Care or Nothing Was the Same sound, right? And that is a much different sound. That's kind of more R&B. So if I was to do a Drake type beat, or if I wanted to go for that keyword, I wouldn't just go for Drake type beat. I would go for a Drake 2012 type beat, or literally like Drake Take Care type beat, or I would literally target that sound. Or I would do Drake X 2011 or 2010 R&B type beat, right? Or something like that. And that is how I'd go for it, because let me just write this down here. I do like Free, right? We want to get Free in there. That is a horrendous F, but like I said, it is late, but I'm still giving value for you guys because I love you guys. Okay, Drake type beat. Yeah, you could go about it like this and you'd see 12 views, right? You don't want to do that, but a good way to go about this, in my opinion, would be to do Drake, let's see, Drake X 2010 R&B type beat. That's probably what I do, right? Why would I do this? Because I'm breaking down the niche into a smaller niche. I'm making my own niche here, right? So I just took a massive keyword. Drake ranks high, right? But I also just added another evergreen keyword, which is R&B. And let's say someone subscribes. Every time they see this title, no one else has a title like this, right? So every time they see it, they know, oh, this is the guy that does that specific Drake sound that I love, right? So now you're targeting your ideal customer. And guess what happens when you target your ideal customer? You start to make a lot more money. Why? Because they're getting exactly what they want, right? So you start making more money. Whereas if you were to go for just Drake type beat in general, you're not very specific. Imagine if you needed your fridge repaired and you were scrolling on Instagram and you see a fridge repair company, their ad or something, or you see a video on how to repair a fridge. Great. What if someone had the exact fridge model that you have? That would be way more helpful, right? Wow, that's so much more helpful. What if there was that exact model of fridge that you had? Well, suddenly that's so much more specific. And what if they were selling that exact fridge model, but better, or a solution? They were selling a solution. Wow. Suddenly that's so specific. They found their ideal customer, which is you. And then now they're making money. Whereas if imagine they were selling that fridge toolkit for that exact model, but we're targeting anyone that wants to repair their fridge. Now it's like, okay, that's kind of counterintuitive, right? So that's where niching down inside of a big niche actually makes sense. I wouldn't do this with a small keyword in general. That wouldn't make sense. But with a massive keyword like this, I would. Same thing. If you were doing Travis Scott, I would do Travis Scott. What was that one album? Whatever, it's the blue background. I think it's like Days Before Rodeo, something like that. Or Rodeo, I don't know. I would do that. I would go for like a specific sound, right? Travis Scott 2014 sound or type beat, right? And I would go for that because you start to build a loyal fan base. You genuinely do, compared to if you were just doing a broad keyword, because everyone's doing Drake type beat, right? Everyone is. But if you make yourself different, suddenly there's so much more demand for you than someone who's getting 100,000 views a day on Drake type beat. Even if you're getting 1,000 views a video, if you're getting 500 views a video, I bet you'll sell more than someone getting 5,000 views a video doing just Drake type beat. I'm serious, because that is just where we're headed with the type beat game. It's like micro niche type beat channels. I've kind of coined this term because I think that's genuinely where we're headed, and I've seen it, right? All my type beat channels, I'll give you a quick example. This type beat channel here, let me find it. It was this one. This type beat channel here made me $5,000. That was great. It made me $5,000. That's awesome. Guess what? It has 1,700 subscribers and it got, maybe 500,000 views on the channel. Great. Maybe $5,000. This channel here on a micro niche type beat channel got 70,000 views and made me also $5,000. It has 300 subscribers. It's not even close to being monetized. It's not even a third of the way there. You see what I'm kind of getting at? Like when you niche down inside of a niche, you suddenly create your own demand. You create the niche. Genuinely growing a type beat channel is creating the niche. So hopefully that makes sense. I tried to explain that the best I can. Yeah, hopefully you got a ton of value. Let's move on to the next question. Now, just starting out after sitting on my beats for years, kept it as a hobby. Okay, going to apply to information. We love to see it. We love to see it. Where is your beat channel? Well, which one? I have quite a few here, but I mean, yeah, just you'll have to be a little more specific because these are just to name a few here, not to mention my students' channels. But let's see. You saved me, bro. Let's go. Let's go. Did you ever work with a rock or alternative or electronic type beat channel? I think in the past. It must have been years ago though. Definitely wasn't recently. But I actually think that's a great niche. I think alternative beats are actually really good. I think indie rock beats or indie alternative, like that kind of sound, I think it's actually genuinely a good niche and it sells like crazy. So genuinely a good niche if you're going for that. Let's see if he's going for that. Okay, I don't know these keywords. I assume it's kind of that, but yeah, okay, so alternative rock, yeah. I bet he's selling pretty decent, even with 500 subs. That this is probably a micro niche typey channel. So great formula so far. This should not be free. Okay, I'll take that as a compliment. And then yeah, I mean, I think I got to a bunch of these other questions on the main channel when I reviewed some type B comments. So we're gonna call it here, but hopefully you guys got a ton of value out of this. I tried to explain things the best, and I'm gonna be doing this every single day. So please leave questions down below on this video, and thanks so much for watching. Have a good night, guys. Peace.